Okay. Oh my god,
Okay.
amazing.
3.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I love you too. I'm keeping that in. Tyler, I went to GameStop today.
Oh my god. Oh my you
because-
got some Funko Pops.
No, no, believe it or not, despite the fact that as soon as I walked in, I was accosted by every employee there, all one of him, to buy every Funko Pop they had. No. I was able to lift myself up by my bootstraps and realize how stupid it would be to walk into a video game store and leave with Funko Pops.
You tore down that Funko Pop wall
Yep.
that every GameStop has.
Jackie and I went food shopping today, and on our way back home, she wanted to stop into Joanne. Do you know what that is?
Okay, hold on. I have multiple questions.
Okay.
Well, actually, only one. You said you went food shopping?
Yeah, we went grocery shopping.
Yeah, you went for groceries.
Yes. So sometimes we'll call it food shopping here.
Food? What? Food? Okay, hold on. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm just gonna let it go. Joanne...
If I'm being formal, yes, I'll say grocery shopping. But we do sometimes. It's pretty casual. Just say I went food shopping.
Oh, we just say I did groceries.
We never say did groceries. We always say went grocery shopping.
Oh, what? Really? No, I went and did groceries.
Yeah. No, we don't do that. Yeah. No, you did groceries today? That sounds weird.
No, what? Is that a Canadianism?
Huh. Probably.
Weird. Joanne. I think maybe like my first grade teacher was named Joanne.
Yeah, we went to her today, and she said
you
were a very bright boy, gold star, A++.
Wow, I'm surprised she remembered me, being that I hardly remember her name.
Well, you never forget the students who like to draw ponies, you know. Joanne's Fabrics.
Okay, we don't have that here, but I know what it is, and I'm assuming you went to the one that's like right down the road from that bagel place.
Yeah, it's not even down the road; it's in the same strip mall. So,
right on. All right.
For the uninitiated, Joanne is like it's a craft store. So like a Michaels, or is AC Moore still a thing? Like those. And so Jackie and I went there on our way home from grocery shopping because she wanted to pick up a couple of fabrics. And there's also a GameStop in that same strip mall. So we went to the GameStop because I just wanted to look and see what they had. Spoiler alert, not really anything of note. But on the way out, I figured I would finally pop down a pre-order for Kirby that's coming out for Switch. And so Jackie and I both are reserving a copy, so we both just put down $5. We'll pay the rest off later. But I have a GameStop membership because many, many years ago, as a joke Christmas gift, my friend Ben signed me up for GameStop's membership.
Do they have a name for it? What's that membership called?
Like the Power Up Rewards program.
Oh, so here it was EB Games for a long time, and it was the Edge card, the EB Edge or something like that.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah, and so they would always be like, "Hey, you got your Edge card? Are you an Edge member?" And I don't know, after the rebrand to GameStop, I don't know if that has changed. I haven't really looked into it, but I still have several Edge cards lying around.
Yeah, I used up my Edge card for the first time when I was 17, I think.
Dear Lord. Okay, so you pre-ordered Kirby.
Yeah, so we pre-ordered Kirby, and the guy was like, just so you know, like, by the time Kirby comes out, you'll have like a $5 coupon on your account. So when you go to pay it off, you know, just make sure that, you know, if you decide to pay it off before the game comes out, just pay $5 less, because then you're going to get $5 off later.
So this guy expects
I'm thinking off... Yeah. I'm thinking exactly what you're thinking, right? So I say to him, like, wait, I'm going to be honest. I'm probably just going to pay for the rest of it when I come to get it. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, I know. I just figured just in case. And I was like, between you and me, like, are there people, like, coming in and, like, hey, I just want to put a little bit more money toward my pre-order? And he's like, well, I mean, a couple of people, yeah, I guess because they're nervous, but, like, I try to tell them we're not going to break their kneecaps or anything.
They're nervous about what?
I'm like, what are they nervous about? If you don't pay for the game, they just don't give you the game. Like, No one's coming after you. Like, oh man, babe, we got to stop at the GameStop. I put down $12, and if I don't give them the other 48, oh god.
Oh my god, acne covered Derek, who works at GameStop, is gonna come after me because I've only put $12 down for the new Kirby game. It's almost out, and if I don't put some more money down now, he's gonna come for me.
Yeah, right. So Jackie and I, we catch eyes with each other. We're just like, people really do that. He's like, well, a couple people here and there. I just couldn't believe that. I just don't understand. Like, I can understand trying to put payments towards something that you've already taken possession of, but this is, like, totally different. You can't own it until it's paid off. So, like, why are you dropping money before it even comes out, other than just to place the pre-order? Like, who's coming in and like, here's another $5, see you on Tuesday for the next $5.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Super FX, the show where we cut the shit and start the shit. My name's Tyler.
My name's Matt.
How's it going, Matt?
It's good. Everything went better than expected today.
Hey, yeah, that's pretty good for a Monday. Yeah. I mean, like, what more can you ask for?
I know, we hate those.
Yeah, I actually this morning I was gonna send somebody a GIF, like a I hate Mondays. It's Monday and I hate them. So I was searching, Giphy. I was searching that for like Garfield. Like I think I typed Garfield Mondays, and there was not really any good suitable GIFs of Garfield like going like I hate Mondays. Like there were some.
What? That's like his thing.
I know. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up again. It's like they weren't really like that good. Like it was all just like I couldn't find one that was like good enough for me to actually send it.
How? For whatever reason, something just came into my mind, and I had this strange daydream where, like, in the year 3041, when it is offensive to be racist toward the days of the week, Garfield has his mind changed. And now, like, all of the Garfield merchandise is like, wow, Mondays rock.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because so I searched Garfield Mondays on Giphy. There is one, the second result is this, like, pixel drawing of Garfield blinking and with a thought bubble that says, I love Mondays. And he looks very content.
Shut the fuck up! You're fucking with me.
No, I'm taking a screenshot of it and I'm gonna send it to you, and you can put it in the YouTube thing. There's also one that says less Mondays, more lasagna, and that was alright. There's also one of just him smirking. That's it.
Yeah, I like a good Garf smirk.
Yeah. There's also one that's like looks very like forwards from grandma style. And it says, Monday again, have a good one. And Garfield's just looking kind of grumpy in it.
Yeah.
There's one with a dog that is not Garfield, but he's in like a Garfield pose, but it's like a different dog. Anyway.
Can we quickly talk about how, like, so, like, the whole, like, forwards from grandma, like, boomer humor, like, subculture of comedy?
Boomer humor.
Yeah. Is that your first time hearing that?
Boomer humor.
Boomer humor. I'm so glad that, like, people finally gave those names and, like, they're identified as their own, like, subgenre of comedy. Because, like, growing up, we could always tell, like, oh, this is, like, it's definitely, like, funny, quotation marks, but, like, my dad would find this funny, or, like, my Uncle John would find this funny. But, like, I don't find this funny, and my friends don't find it funny. But that doesn't mean it isn't comedy. But you could tell it's awkward, but it is funny. And so, like, thank God the internet has, like, so many people now who are just like, oh, yeah, no, it's just boomer humor. Or, like, our forwards from grandma, old people Facebook, stuff like that.
The one that comes to mind, like, immediately is, remember the fucking, like, pandemic and... Remember the pandemic?
I do, unfortunately.
remember like the fucking like toilet paper shortage?
Yeah,
Boomers loved that shit. Boomers thought that was like the wildest,
the
craziest,
fucking funniest
shit ever.
thing in the world.
They did. I remember seeing like memes about that on like my my grandma's Facebook or whatever. Like for like months afterwards, like they ate that shit up. I don't know why they thought that was
like
so
like
funny.
a picture of like one roll of toilet paper, and it was like $3.99.99. No low balls. I know what I have.
Yeah, well, yeah, or just like joking about like bartering toilet paper and like and they're like back in my day, like etc. Like I don't know why, like they thought that was like the funniest shit ever. So I don't know what it is about like the generational divide. I've actually talked at length with some friends about generational divides and like, is there a pinpoint that you like? Is there a moment that you can pinpoint that was like this is the thing between boomers and millennials or like like the Gen Z or whatever we're on.
Oh, I absolutely think that there's a point between boomers and the new generations.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example, and this is not for boomers, but the one that I feel very strongly about is okay. We're millennials, right?
Yes.
And the new one is Gen Z. Is that right?
Technically, the newest one is Gen Alpha. They've already started pumping them out, but Gen Z comes after you and me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I have a hypothesis that the divide between those is whether or not you watched Phineas and Ferb.
Okay.
If you watched Phineas and Ferb, you are in Gen Z.
Okay. Here's a question. Did you think their sister was hot?
What was her name again?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. That's too bad. Well, Matthew, I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
So someone listening is gonna be like, "I remember her name. It's."
Think about what you're saying. Sweet summer child. No, but okay, hold on. Here's the thing. Okay, are you about to like ruin this hypothesis for me by telling me that you watched that show?
No, I think that your hypothesis stands because I know that show, and I definitely like caught glimpses of that show, but I never sat down and was excited. Like, I have to watch the newest episode of Phineas and Ferb, like I was for like Courage the Cowardly Dog. You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's where I draw the line. Anyway.
Okay, I mean, I draw the line on smartphones, which I think is easier. Because even though boomers use smartphones, you can tell that is like the big divide, right? Our generation and younger uses smartphones so effortlessly, flawlessly, and efficiently. But even boomers who know how to use a smartphone still have tells that show you that they're boomers.
Like they'll do
why
that
is
thing
your
where
brightness at 100? You have 1,000 notifications. The volume is all the way up, and the text size is like 14,000.
Oh yeah, the text size is 1 million, and they do that thing where they like put ellipses after everything.
That's not necessarily a generational gap with technology. I just think that's like back then. I guess like using ellipses was just like cool. But now it's like ominous and weird. I had a landlord who did that once, where they were like, "We need to talk about the closet." ... Like, oh god, it killed me.
They thought it was cool. Like they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ask Deborah to the homecoming dance. Watch this," and he just uses like 18 dots. Like, "Hey Deborah, ...
Yeah. Would you? What? Go ahead.
I was gonna say Deborah is the most boomer name I could think of, like right off the hop there.
Deborah and so I was gonna say Margaret, but I know a Margaret who's younger than me, but she doesn't go by Margaret really.
Yeah, I know an old Margaret and a young Margaret, so that one doesn't count. The definition is purely based on who you and I know.
Yeah. Well, Margaret, what have you been playing lately? Sorry, I mean Tyler.
Yeah, Matthew. I'll spoiler alert. I have not been playing anything new, but I have been playing both.
That's our show, guys. If you want to catch what Tyler is about to say, you can go to our last episode.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to talk at length. I have been playing both Dicey.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
Oberdin and Oberdin. It's slow. It's a slow game.
Oh, I picked up Oberdin since you recommended it. Jackie was really interested in. We haven't started it yet, but Jackie was really interested in starting it together. So very soon we're going to play it together.
Yeah, it's quite slow, I'll say. And so I was having like a hard time like being like, okay, time to go play that slow game.
Yeah.
But I did play more of it, but I haven't finished it yet. However, I'm still playing Dicey Dungeons, and I will continue playing it until I'm done it. I beat Witch level 4.
Okay, good.
After you beat it, it tells you how many times how many attempts it took. I apparently took 30 attempts. I think it was.
Oh.
At this stage, and like one attempt can be a long time. I had to just cheese it, and I'm kind of upset about it. I literally had to like work this like strategy out where you like get these very two specific weapons, and you like you basically just like cause the enemy to like not be able to attack. Like it's kind of like a soft lock.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had situations in games where like once you find that like cheese strategy, you're like, fuck it, just fuck it. I don't want to play this stage anymore.
Yeah, and so like that's what it was. And like in like Zelda 2, there's that thing at the end you fight
where you
Link and
just
like
duck in the corner and just stab and you can't take any damage.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
And
super
I,
satisfying.
to be honest, I play it that way like every time because that fight is just so stupid.
I beat Witch level 4, and then I like Witch level 5, Witch level 6. I finished no problem first try, and I'm like, fucking,
so just level 4 was like an asshole.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, so I've now moved on. I'm on the last stage, and then I think there's like a final thing after you beat the last stage, or the last like world or whatever. So I'm almost done it. I have put the Switch does that stupid fucking thing where it's like it doesn't tell you how long exactly you've played the game, but it'll give you the ballpark.
Oh yeah, like played for like 36 hours or more.
Yeah, mine says 45 hours or more in Dicey Dungeons, which
the in-game time is not displayed anywhere, like in the game.
I haven't looked. I don't know. I just looked at the Switch thing. It might be. Matthew, if you had told me when I bought Dicey Dungeons that I would put over 45 hours into this game, I would have called you absolutely like bananas, because I do not put that much time in any game ever. Really.
And it's also a cheap game to put like 45 hours into.
Yeah, I spent like a few dollars on it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got like super hooked. So me and Dicey Dungeons are friends again. They just need to take that level out and just forget it ever existed, and then move on.
Once Dicey Dungeons works on himself, you guys can finally start going back to the park and the aquarium.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
Yeah, we went through a little rough patch, but we're working it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad to hear that. Actually, I was. I don't want to call you out or anything, but you have a tendency to drop games. So
do I ever? I will be the first to admit that.
So I
happens.
was afraid that you had spent so much time talking about how much you loved this game, and you got to this rough patch, and I was afraid you were going to stop playing.
Yeah, we went to the mountains skiing, and on the car ride back, my friend was driving, and I was like, okay, perfect. I've got like 3.5, 4 hours just to sit here. Like, I need to fucking get this shit done. And so I probably ran through it like 5 or 6 times in that car ride, and then finally beat it. Like as we were pulling back into our home city, I finally was like, psh, like it finished.
Do you have like a little like thing you do when you finally like defeat a part of a game that's like really getting to you? Like, how do you like react physically?
Oh, it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like a desperation, like, oh, thank fucking God. And I'll put the controller down or whatever, put the Switch down, and be like, Jesus Christ, dear Lord, fucking finally.
Okay, so yours is more like relief, whereas mine is like more triumph. Where once I beat a part of a game where I've definitely had like a ton of trouble with, I'll put the controller in my lap slowly because I realize what has finally happened, and then I'll take a moment to process, and then I'll like pump my fist down like I'm pulling on a truck horn, and I'll just go, yes, fuck you.
I can definitely see you doing that. Okay, it's different though. It's different if it's something that I had tried maybe like 3 or 4 times at. Then I think that's like a fist pump and a let's go,
Yeah, definitely. Same here. Exactly the same. The let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely one of those. But if it's like 30 tries, then it's like fucking finally.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I'm glad that you finally conquered it.
I know, dude. Yeah. I'm honestly like I like that game, and I'm really happy to get through that part. But I'm also kind of like happy to almost be done it and being able to move on to something new.
Yeah. I have become lost in a world over the last couple of weeks of
Oh, you want like
100%ing like what?
I was gonna make a dumb joke, and I kind of
Yeah,
decided
no,
against it,
go
but here
ahead.
we
This
are.
is
I was gonna say,
no, Tyler. What would our show be without dumb jokes? Please entertain me.
I was gonna say, do you want a map? You got Google Maps now. I know you're more of a boomer than I am, but it's a smartphone. No.
Super FX, the show for boomers. Well, you know what? I can use that as a segue, and I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love a map, Tyler, because I've been lost in a world of 100%ing weird mascot games for disc-based consoles.
Ooh,
One of which
Bubsy.
is no. But thank you for guessing. One of them I could definitely use a map for because it was Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness, which I 100%ed last week. That game is really fucking good.
Really?
Yeah. So it is when you think of like Pac-Man World, it's basically like just like a 3D platformer with elements and assets shared amongst all the different Pac-Man games, right?
Yeah.
But Maze Madness is straight up like it's like a Sokoban game. It's a box pushing puzzle maze game.
Okay.
No platforming.
Okay.
Like there are elements of like standing on platforms, but there's no jumping. If you ever do jump, it's because you hit a springboard. You can't just jump whenever you want. So it is a grid-based puzzle maze game. Just happens to be starring Ms. Pac-Man and the ghosts. There isn't really anything like Pac-Man-y about it.
My only relationship with this game is I remember seeing it like you went to Blockbuster, I went to Rogers Video as a kid, and I remember like
I also went
to
Hollywood Video, but yeah.
And there was like that dumb. There's a dumb like the cover is like Miss Pac-Man. Like,
it's just Miss Pac-Man just fucking front and center.
Yeah, and she's just kind of like walking.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing exciting about that cover.
No, really.
She's like walking towards the camera, and I think like maybe like I'm looking at it again now, and I think like maybe like she's supposed to look like she's in a rush or something, but she's definitely not. Like you can't really emote like with because there's like this giant thing chasing her, right? But like I don't know, pack people have such a like you can't really, they got no emotion, so she's just like strutting.
It's they didn't even really need to think that hard about the cover art anyway, because Ms. Pac-Man is going to sell that game just because she's Ms. Pac-Man, but yeah, it's a really fucking fun game. It came out for like everything at the time. It came out in I think 99 or 2000, I think. So it was on N64, it was on Dreamcast, it was on PlayStation 1, and it was on Windows. I played the Dreamcast version because that's the best version. It also happens to be the only version that I own for those consoles. But about a year and a half later, it also came out on Game Boy Advance, and it's not the same game.
Yeah. Oh, it's different. It does the Sorcerer's
the Game Boy
Stone
Advance thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness, but the levels are different, the music is different, etc. And as far as the gameplay is concerned, they're very challenging puzzles, and it's very fun, and nothing is too tedious or too cerebral to figure out. The two things I want to talk about are what?
Just like discussing Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness in terms of how cerebral it is.
Well, because it has puzzles. It's a puzzle game to an extent, right? So like, but oh my god, Tyler, the fucking music for this game is insanely good. The music for Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness on all of the console versions was composed by John Holland. It is
Wait, like the Spider-Man?
Yeah. Yeah, Spider-Man himself, John Holland,
What's his
composed
dad?
the music for Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness. It is so good. Whenever this is the game I'm going to think about now. Whenever people are like, video game music isn't real music, shut the fuck up and listen to Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness. Seriously.
Okay. All right.
It's really good. The object of the game, or should I say the object of 100%, is to collect all of these stars in the game. And to earn a star, you have to complete a mission objective in each level. Each level has 4 mission objectives usually. Some have fewer, but there are 4 objectives for most levels. Get a high enough score, collect all the fruit, collect all the pack dots, and complete that level's time trial. And honestly, they're pretty simple to do, pretty easy, and yet it still feels like a real fun challenge. Even the time trials, they'll give you some trouble here and there, but they're not daunting. They're actually pretty simple to figure out and just do. And if you fuck up, you can very, very quickly pause, quit, reset, and just jump right back in to try again. So, yeah, really, really fun game to 100%. But that's not all. On PlayStation, I have been playing, trying to 100%, I'm still in the middle of it, Croc, Legend of the Gobos.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That's not nearly as good a game, but it is still a good game. But it is definitely a product of its time. How much do you know about Croc?
Okay, so I... okay, back in the day, like when I was a kid, one time my uncle lent me his PlayStation because I never had one. I was a Super Nintendo and N64 kid.
Same.
But my uncle at one point lent me his PlayStation, and he had a binder, like a disc binder of games, which included like Siphon Filter and like some of the Resident Evil games and Tomb Raider, and and I was too scared to play those games because I was a wee baby. I would only play those ones if my uncle were there with me.
Right, of course.
And so therefore, the game that is in that binder that did appeal to me and look more child friendly was Croc.
Yeah. That's it?
What do you mean?
Like, did you
Was
play
that
it?
that story was not good enough for you?
Well, I'm asking if you played it.
Yeah, well, I'm getting to that part. Don't
Okay.
rush me. I'm telling my story.
Well, you paused, so I thought you were like totally done.
Yeah, and in
and
that
that's
binder,
it. I saw Croc. The end.
Yeah, in that binder he had Croc.
Good night, folks.
Yeah, of course I fucking played it. I had a PlayStation with
Okay.
a fucking binder full of games. Like, of course I played some of the games. So I played Croc. I remember very little. In all honesty, Croc and Spyro kind of like blend together a little bit for me. And I replayed Spyro like 2 years ago, a year or two ago. And I don't know, like Croc in my mind, because I haven't played it since then, it's just like, oh, it's like that not Spyro game, you know?
Well,
It's
yeah, because like
3D platformer.
both games are like very green. They have a lot of greenery, and they both have
they hadn't
like,
figured out how to do like
gems,
foliage.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the uninitiated, Croc is a 3D mascot platformer. It's literally just it's a stage-based game though. So similar to like your Marios or your Castlevanias, you just go from point A to point B and you complete the level and then you move on to the next level. It's not open like Spyro or anything like that where you have different worlds you can visit and then there's a hub. But there are 100% criteria. You can revisit old levels. The game's linear, but it has, I don't know, very slight non-linearity during sections where you want to go for 100%. The criteria for 100% is to collect all 8 puzzle pieces. But to do that, you have to collect more stuff. That's just the end goal. Every level has 6 gobos that you can collect. They're like the fuzzy animals who helped raise Croc. Like they found Croc orphaned one day and then they raised him to be one of their own. And then one day the Gobbo village gets attacked, but everybody, everybody knows Croc's going to save him, right? So Croc does. Croc saves him. So every level has 6 gobos, except for boss levels, which don't have any collectibles, and special levels, which only have a puzzle piece. But to unlock the special level for a world, you have to collect all of the gobos in the previous stages. So that's really it. Collect all the shit to collect all the gobos to collect all the puzzle pieces. Every stage has 5 colored gems, which are also mandatory to collect. But the only reason they're mandatory is because the 6th gobbo in every stage is locked behind a door that requires all 5 colored gems. So if you want to get super duper technical, the 100% criteria is collect every colored gem and every gobbo and every puzzle piece. But you can't even get the puzzle pieces unless you do all the other stuff. So it's really just get the puzzle pieces. But I said earlier that this game is a product of its time, and oh god, it really is. It's not a bad game, and it's not poorly designed, but it has tank controls, which for a platformer is very
Yeah, that's a product for its time for sure.
Yeah. So moving left and right will rotate Croc left and right, and if you're moving left and right while walking forward, the turning is really weird. If you're in midair and you use left and right, it doesn't turn you left and right, you strafe left and right. And you have to use the shoulder buttons to turn left and right in midair. It's very weird, but it's kind of intuitive at the same time. Explaining it, you would think like that is weird, why they change the controls just because you're in midair, but it's totally learnable, and it's really intuitive. But probably the most noticeable thing about its controls is that they were designed around how they were designed. And that sounds weird, but...
Yeah, I was going to ask you what the hell you mean.
Because the controls are designed in such a way that they have tank controls and there's all of this weird like strafing mechanics depending on whether you're in midair or on the ground, the controls are designed to be fluid and adaptable because of the way they are. And so, despite the fact that Croc is a platformer, it has a button that turns you around 180 degrees, which is common in like Resident Evil, when you would need to turn and quickly run away. A platformer doesn't really need that sort of thing, but it's there. And it's really, really fast. It has a lot of different camera control, despite the fact that there's no right analog stick. You can play it using a DualShock controller, but it came out before the DualShock did, so realistically using a DualShock controller is just using a joystick instead of the D-pad, but it functions exactly the same way. So
which never
it's
works
not gonna make
exactly correctly.
Yeah. But because there was never any design to use the right thumbstick for a camera, since the original PlayStation controller doesn't have a right camera thumbstick, there are tons of different ways to control the camera using the face buttons. So triangle will center the camera behind Croc so you can get a good look at things, and when you let go, the camera will stay behind Croc. L2 and R2 move the camera up and down depending on how far you want the camera to be away from Croc. Yeah. And you can also just, because you're rotating with the left and the right buttons to turn Croc, the camera makes pretty damn good adjustments to make sure that you're always being shown where you're pointing. There are certain parts of the game where, because the corridor is pretty small, the camera can't move around the wall, but the game tries its best, and it does a pretty damn good job. But you can really tell the more you play it how clunky it really is. I'm still having a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, I love that era of... I mean, I don't know if I would love it, but that era of like 3D gaming is like amazing to witness, because they had not figured out how to do it.
Yeah, they really didn't.
Nobody did, really. Like, Mario 64 came out, and that was like pretty revolutionary, and they did it with one stick. And so, like, that was something, right? And then you had 2 sticks, right? Or like a D-pad, and, or no sticks, right? And they still wanted to do, like, 3D platformer. And it's like, how the hell do you do that? And so it's like 90% of the buttons on your controller, like, manipulate the camera
are for the camera.
Because they had not figured out any better way to do it at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly why the C buttons were invented for the N64 controller. That's why they're called C. You would think, they're called C because A, B, and C. But that's just a coincidence. They're called the C buttons because they were always meant to be used for games with a 3D perspective to manipulate the camera. And
wow, really?
yeah,
Is that
I know,
true?
right? It is true, yeah. Things that you may not, or possibly probably already inferred. But here's a cute little piece of trivia about Croc. Croc came out in 1997, and Banjo-Kazooie came out in 1998. And in Croc, when you ground pound on things, Croc says "Wahey!" which means that there was a game saying "Wahey" a full year before Banjo-Kazooie.
Wow, Grant Kirkhope, you motherfucker, you stole that shit.
Yeah. And for those of you out there who may not own a PlayStation but want to play Croc, why? But anyway, it also came out on Windows, and if you really don't like yourself, it came out on Saturn. Good luck.
Really? Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember there being a Game Boy Color one, probably.
I don't know if the first one came out on Game Boy Color, but Croc 2 got a Game Boy Color port.
Gotcha. Hey, I have another piece of Croc trivia for you.
Yeah.
Croc was developed by Argonaut Software, Argonaut Studios, whatever it was, Argonaut. Argonaut, coincidentally, was the same group that was behind Star Fox on the SNES and the Super FX chip.
Yes, which is our namesake. Everybody, thank you so much. This is where you finally learn all about the Super FX chip. This episode, we finally talk about it.
No, we're not. That's boring.
But
what Argonaut showed us is that they can do some things well and other things not very well at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know what?
That's it.
They gave us Croc, and so I'm thankful.
Yeah, and where are they now?
I'll tell you where they're not. They're not about to do gamer news with a Z, or it legally doesn't count.
No, they're not. We have a lot of that to do today.
Yeah, let's blast right through.
We're gonna have a Super FX blasted right through all these. All right.
Let's blast process all of these things.
You want to start with like big news first and trickle down to the shit news, or you want to start with shit news and then do the big things at the end? You pick.
Oh God, you know my relationship with shit. Here we go. Let's start with the big boy stuff.
Okay. Big boy news. New Pokémon games were announced. It was kind of weird because we just got a new Pokemon game like a month ago, and now the Pokemon company's like, hey, there's more. So we had all that discussion about like, hey, what's mainline Pokemon gonna look like now? Like, what is mainline? You know, what are the? And here's your answer. Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet.
We're going back to colors, bro.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Are you as excited as me?
I thought that was wild. I'm very surprised that they did that.
It's only missing the word version, and it would be perfect.
I will be entirely honest. I did not play Sword and Shield.
That's okay. Neither did a lot of people. Yeah,
I looked at it. I didn't have a ton of interest in it. At the time that it came out was kind of weird. I don't exactly remember what else I was doing, but I remember like thinking like I don't have fucking time to jump into a giant Pokemon game right now. And I don't know. It just wasn't,
I always
good time for me. These ones, it looks better than those games, I'd say. But it still looks kind of like more of the same, maybe.
It looks, to me, it seems like it's a mishmash of traditional Pokemon and what we have in Legends Arceus, which is kind of a neat little middle ground, and a pretty good way to quell the anxiety that I was having about where Pokemon was headed.
Okay, so you're excited about it.
I'm excited about it anyway because it's Pokemon, and I love Pokemon.
As we all know.
As a game in general, I am excited about it. It's pretty cool that we're getting Gen 9 already, and it looks like a mix between two formulas that I really liked. You know, I really love the traditional RPG Pokemon formula, but as we talked about in previous episodes, I also fell in love with the new open world style of Arceus, and so as long as what I'm assuming the trailer is giving off is true, that it's going to be a marriage of those two things, then I'm really excited.
The trailer was weird I don't know what the hell went on in this trailer, but there's like a cop, and he's in and like a real life person, like not this is not
Yeah.
in
It's
this
live
is like
action.
a live action policeman, and
I think he's supposed to
like,
be a security officer for Game Freak.
is that what's going on? And he's like going through this like dilapidated mansion thing, museum maybe, and it's got some like artifacts.
Uh huh.
And then he opens the door, and it's like, hey, there's a new Pokemon game. Like, he found it.
Yeah. So,
I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. That was a
No,
very
it's
strange
okay.
trailer.
I was also very tickled by the trailer. It's not often we get live action trailers from Nintendo these days. That's a very like '90s commercial thing.
Well, and it zooms in on like the in-game Switch. Like the characters in the bedroom's always got the console, and it like zooms in on the console, and then it zooms out, and it's like, but you're back
bam.
in like you're back in live action, and here's the real life Switch, and like you're still in this like museum, and the cop just looks really confused. Like, I don't know what this is trying to tell me. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think about what the discussion was at
Be on the
Nintendo
lookout.
They were like dreaming up this ad, and they were like, "Okay, I got it. There's gonna be this cop, right?" And
Go on.
At that point, everybody else in the room was like, "Uh-huh."
Right. This is gonna be this cop, right? And he discovers Pokemon. Yeah.
But they're in
Okay.
this thing.
But they're in like a building.
It comes out at the end of 2020, late 2022.
Late 2022. So this year, which is, oh my god, like everything's coming out this year.
Yeah, this is a big year.
Like, remember the direct. We watched it together, you and I remember us positing about like, wow, I cannot believe they are releasing so many of these things this year. Because last year there were so many things that said, oh, 2022. But this year, maybe because it's early in the year, I don't know. But then again, there was stuff from early last year that wasn't slated to come out until this year still. But almost everything in the direct was like, yep, this year. Fucking bet on it.
Yeah, I think like that's a little bit of a pandemic thing where a lot of stuff got pushed back, and now we're finally seeing a lot of that come to fruition, I think. Or there was just stuff that was like kind of in the works, and maybe got like a little bit more in the trenches once like they figured out how to get, you know, the work from home stuff going and all that. And now we're finally kind of seeing the fruits of that labor. And so like there's probably like there was probably some of this stuff that was slated to come. I don't think this Pokemon in particular, but like there was some of this stuff that is coming out like 2022 that was probably supposed to come out late 2021 maybe. But yeah.
It's just interesting to me because you said earlier like Pokemon Arceus, like Legends Arceus, like just came out, and that's also what everybody else is talking about too. Where like we just got a Pokemon game, and Nintendo usually what they do when they announce a game for a series is they'll focus on that, and then it'll come out, and they'll give us a very decent amount of time to play it, enjoy it. They'll put out updates, and then they won't announce something new in that series until people have started to forget about it. But we're 1 month in, people are still playing Legends Arceus, and they're like, "Psych, Gen 9, fuck you."
Yeah, it's wild. I did not. This was like super like, you know, they announced that there was going to be like a Pokemon Direct or whatever, and I was like, oh, they're going to talk about like the anime. Or they're going to talk about like some like mobile game,
anime or movies or mobile stuff or updates for Arceus or even more updates for Sword and Shield because fuck it, some people do still play those. But I was totally blindsided.
Okay, we got we said we were going to blast process through this news, and we are currently not blast processing. So let's move on.
Okay, boom. Next,
Steam Deck. The reviews are coming in for it, and it looks so okay. I know I kind of like I had a lot of people we talked about the Steam Deck, I think like back when it was announced or maybe back when pre-orders went up or whatever it was,
like when we were in like single digits. I
kind of poo-pooed it a little bit, and I had multiple people talk to me about like, oh, you don't think it's gonna be good? And I was like, well, no, I mean, like
not really that we didn't think it was going to be good, we just didn't think it was going to be feasible, you know.
I didn't think it was going to be successful, right?
Yeah.
I still am not convinced that it's gonna be successful. So the reviews are in. Basically, people think it's, you know, it's good value. The hardware is great. You know, like it controls well, buttons feel good, all that kind of thing. You know, screen looks good, I've heard. and like super customizable, right? It's like a portable PC basically. Like you can do, it's why people buy gaming PCs, because like you tinker with it, and uh, it sounds like it has some battery issues.
Hmm.
If you're playing things at like like a high performance, and it sounds like it's a little buggy.
Yeah.
And I heard something about the fan is really loud. So like all those things combined, like is that make or break it? Like I don't think so, but I don't know. To me, this is still just it's so. It, Valve has this thing that they do where it's very much like targeted at like a hobbyist environment to an extent, and I feel
Yeah.
like they lean on that so much that it kind of the mainstream kind of detracts from it, and things are impacted. So here's an example of what I mean is that
Hmm.
Nintendo could probably, and I'm talking out of my butt, but could probably get the Switch to perform a little better and have a little bit, better graphics and a little bit like higher fidelity, but the battery life would suck. And so all reviews that would come in for that thing would be like, "Oh, the battery life sucks," right? But
Yeah.
they're willing to cut that a little bit. They're able to find the balance of, hey, like this game is going to take a little bit of a graphics hit, but we'll get better performance or better battery life out of it. And so, or like better frame rate or whatever it is, right? And so you get less of the negative reviews for
Hmm.
like this like major thing. Whereas Valve is like, hey, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So like you could have great graphics, but like the battery's gonna suck, or you can have like shit graphics and you'll get great battery, right? And so now like you've got
Yeah.
these like muddying reviews and muddying experiences for all people across the board, right? And so now
Yeah.
if the Steam Deck is good or not, the answer to that question really depends on who you ask, because they're gonna have a completely different experience than somebody else. Whereas with a Nintendo Switch, like every customer is gonna get the exact same experience because you can't tweak that kind of stuff. And
Yep.
so I think personally, like I think that's where Valve struggles a little bit. They're they have a hard time really like narrowing down and kind of like um, uh, finding like the, I don't want to say middle ground, but like finding what they want that experience to be. And I know people are going to shit at me for this because I know a lot of people who love like being able to customize their gaming rigs and being like able to really dial in the settings and stuff. And like if that's you, like all power to you, like go for it, right? But I
Yeah.
think if Valve
But
wants this to be
it
like
makes it harder for like
totally.
the layperson to just get in and start enjoying
Oh,
it.
absolutely, right? Like if I try to give
Yeah.
one of these things like to my dad or whatever, like good luck, right? Like
The
back to
Steam
the
Deck
boomer.
is the yeah, I was gonna say the Steam Deck is the pinpoint between boomer and
Yeah, but if I gave him a Nintendo Switch, like he'd be all in that, right? Like he would absolutely. I remember like he was big into like Brain Age back in the day, right? Like it's like this mainstream stuff, and it's like the gateway into getting into more, more a little bit like core gaming stuff. And I
right.
don't think the Steam Deck is just attractive to that type of consumer. And so for
Hmm.
that reason, I don't think it's ever gonna really take off. But it sounds like it's a really great piece of tech. Um, I I'm not gonna pick one up anytime soon, but
Hmm.
like as like an emulation machine, a portable emulation machine, like that would be sweet, right? But yeah, at this point, like I don't think it does a whole lot more that I want personally that my Switch can't
Hmm.
do. That would make it worth the price tag for me. I don't know, but it's coming out. We'll see what happens with it. I'd like to see like a Gen 2. I'll reevaluate kind of how I maybe where I stand with it, because like sky's the limit. I think for that thing. I think
Yeah.
they just need to, if they really want it to be like to succeed, I think they got to kind of narrow down their vision for it and really like decide who this is for.
Yeah, I agree. It's gonna have a niche audience for a very, very long time, and people are gonna enjoy it because the niche audience usually eats up the niche product. But it remains to be seen. I'll probably only pick one up because of the collecting aspect, but I wouldn't see myself buying this thing like to go like, oh my god, I gotta play this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, totally. All right, go on blast in here.
yeah.
People are really excited. It's all over like my Twitter and my Instagram and my
Oh
whatever's.
yeah.
People love Elden Ring.
Uh huh.
Elden Ring came
Did you
out.
forget what it was called for a second there?
Yeah, for a moment I almost called it Elder Ring. Uh, this it's a new Souls game, and people love Souls games. People absolutely
Yeah.
go bananas over Souls games. I don't really get it. Whenever I've played one of those games, it feels like jank as hell. And
same.
dude, this is the episode where I'm just like pissing off a bunch of people, I'm sure.
No,
because I know a lot of people
I agree with
love
you.
This shit.
I don't enjoy Souls games very much. They're not for me. But
yeah.
Like, everybody's talking about them, everybody's enjoying them, so like I'm not gonna shit on them, right? But
no, of course.
Oh my god, like everybody, like my Facebook and Twitter feeds are plastered with Elden Ring memes.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Like,
yeah, you can't escape it.
Yeah. Like I saw a meme today that was like fuck, I'm trying to remember it now. Oh yeah, all you guys are out here playing Elden Ring, but I'm having sex this weekend. Quickly calls up like my fuck buddy. Hey, we have to have sex this weekend. All my friends are playing Elden Ring, and I want to show off. I'm sorry, babe, I can't. I'm playing Elden Ring.
Matt, I'm really glad that you just described verbally a meme to me. That was really nice.
I'm not cutting it out. Welcome to the Boomer FX show, where the generational gap between boomers and millennials is whether or not we are going to describe memes. ...
Okay.
Oh my god!
It got good reviews.
I thought of the fucking perfect name for this episode. I'm not spoiling it, but
okay.
For you, they're gonna know when they click on it. But
okay, I'll know when you tell it to me.
You'll know when I edit this in like hours.
Okay, we're going. Elden Ring came out. People like it a lot. It got really good reviews. I don't know if I understand. Maybe I need to play that one specifically. Maybe I need to go back and play the other ones again. I don't know. But it didn't look like it was like absolutely amazing. But whatever. Horizon, the new one came out. Forbidden West. Did you play Horizon Zero Dawn?
No, but I've always wanted to, and so I will. And so I will also pick up the new Horizon as well.
Great. Yes, the first game is great. I played a lot of it, and then Breath of the Wild came out, so I stopped playing it.
Gotcha.
But yes, definitely go back and play Zero Dawn because it's great. The new one looks good too. I don't want to pick it up because like that's one of those games that's going to drop in price like real darn fast. So I'm going to pick it up a little bit later when it's not $80 and when it's like $40 instead, and then I'll play it then.
Yeah.
PSVR 2. We talked about this briefly when it was announced. I was kind of surprised. Okay, so Sony decided to announce PSVR 2, like a month ago?
It hasn't been that long at all.
And now a month later, they're like, hey, we're going to show it to you now. And it's like, fucking, why not not do all this at the same time?
Yeah.
Like, why did they really want...
They have to generate hype, so like they build it slowly, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, just like the Amico.
Oh, that's not generating any hype, Tyler. At this point, trite maybe, but not hype.
So yeah, it looks cool. It's got those like orb controllers that most like VR things have now. That like wrap around your whole hand. I don't know. It looks good.
Yeah.
I coincidentally I had to order. So fun fact: if you want to plug in your PSVR to a PS5, like PSVR 1 to a PS5. You need an adapter that you can only get by opening like a service ticket with Sony and being like, hey, here's the serial number of my PSVR or whatever. I want to plug it into my PS5. Please send me the adapter. And they like express ship you an adapter for free. It doesn't cost anything.
Oh god, that adapter is going to be worth money later. I know.
I opened it. I got it, and I opened it up, and I tossed the packaging because it was just like packaging, and I'm like, wait, should I have just fucking kept that packaging? Because that was probably like 10 years from now, that thing was like it's gonna be like $200 in the bag, but whatever. It's whatever. Anyway, moving along because the PSVR 2 is like it looks alright.
I want to talk about the. I have a lot to say about this, but I'll try to keep it brief.
Yeah,
the 3DS and the Wii U eShops are closing next year.
Yeah. I think most of our listeners probably know how you and I feel about digital shops,
digital media.
Yeah, you know, the fact that a lot of them are. We're kind of in an era now where the first digital shops have closed. You know, like the Wii eShop.
Yeah, the Wii is gone. And...
has closed, and that was like kind of the first big one. and now it continues.
I'm just so disheartened, man. Like, I get it. It's just a matter of natural progression. No one's really playing the Wii U anymore. People are still playing 3DS, but Nintendo wants to, they want to start phasing it out and focusing on Switch as their new everything. It's their handheld and it's their console, and they just want to phase it out. And that's fine. Like, they could do whatever they want, but not only is this really bad for, the sake of nostalgia, but it's really bad for the sake of preservation. This is really bad. We're gonna lose thousands of digital video games that, unless there's some hero out there who wants to put on their cape and dive in and try to back up / purchase all of these games.
Which does happen. Like, there are databases online of people who are somewhat illegally probably uploading.
It is. It absolutely is illegal to do. But unless somebody wants to take the bullet for the rest of us, because I don't want to get entangled in that sort of thing, we're going to lose these games if that doesn't happen. And there are a lot of really, really good digital-only 3DS and Wii U games. Like, a lot of. In hearing about this, it kind of put a little bit more of a fire under my ass to, pick up more digital games from those shops before they do close. And I have a whole year, so I've started making a pretty sizable list, and, I'll get through it. But I do already have a lot of the ones that I really wanted because I bought them when they came out. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, this is just really sad. I have a lot of memories of being, especially on the 3DS eShop, because it had bitchin' music. Sometimes I would just put it on in the background.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't like digital games. They definitely, they fill a need, and so I can't fault them, but I hate them because of this. They go away forever, you know? I can still buy a copy of a game from, like, 1977, but that's because it's physical. I could just find it and get it anywhere.
Yeah, we're moving more and more towards a world where, like, and this is, like, I mean, people argue that it's always been the case, but you pay, you're buying the license to play the game. You're buying the ability to play a game for a certain length of time, right? If you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass for 1 month, you are purchasing the ability to play those games for 1 month, right? If you buy a game if you bought a game on the eShop, you have purchased the ability to play that game for maybe 10 years, right? And if that game gets taken off the eShop, or if the eShop goes down, or if they close the eShop, then at that point you can no longer re-download that game, and you can no longer play it again, and your time has expired. Thank you very much. And it's so tough. I mean, we could talk for hours, you and I think, about this, but I know really
we have in the past, like before we.
Yeah, I really wish that there was some solution. Yeah. That's all I'll say about that right now.
I realize that it costs Nintendo money, probably much, much less than we even think that it costs them, to run the servers that have all of these games on them, and to, allow for download and ownership of these games. But, man, it just really sucks. We're going to lose so much. Like, at this point for me, and I'm sure for you too, we've talked about this, like, we consider video games art, but this is more about losing work that people put into the video game market. These are works of art. Some of them are stupid, right? Like, oh, here's a game where, like, all you do is, like, take photos of cats. Or
what was that, like, Endless Runner on Wii U? It was like a meme quest or some shit.
Yeah.
I remember that one being like...
Yeah, so, like, yes, we realize some of them are dumb, but just because something is dumb and trite, that doesn't mean that it isn't art, and that doesn't mean that it isn't important to the history of video games. And so, taking away these games is not just like, oh man, I'm going to have less games to play. It's, oh man, there's going to be less games in the world, There are going to be fewer games out there for people to learn about and enjoy and talk about, and there will be fewer games for future developers to look back on and take inspiration from, etc. So there's a lot of stuff that I could say to speak on this topic, and I'm sure that I've already pretty much spoken about it at length when we've talked about this kind of thing in past episodes, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about when I say I don't like digital media. This is like the main reason why.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I mean, I like the idea of digital media in that it's like, easy to access, and you can like
it serves a purpose.
So you don't have to get out.
It serves a purpose. That's why I can't I can't say that it's unnecessary, but
yeah, damn. All right, we got to keep going. I think that's it for news. It was pretty busy couple weeks for the news.
It's been big, but I want to. You told me before we started this episode that that big bin of games that you got so long ago.
Yeah.
You finally figured that shit out.
Yeah, so I got a big bit of games. Yeah, from a friend, and I hadn't really gone through it. I kind of like sifted through it, but I picked it up, and then we basically moved right afterwards. And I'm like, okay, I don't have time. I don't have the space. I gotta figure this out at a different time. And so I finally got around to it while I was kind of like finishing up the move that we just went through. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. There was a Dreamcast, there was a couple N64s, there was an Xbox, there was a couple Power NES zappers. There was also a Power Glove manual, but no Power Glove, sadly. So that one still eludes me. There was also like a full manual set for like a Commodore 64, like with like the receipts and everything. Like it's pretty wild. And a lot of the games actually had the receipts like in the cases and stuff, and so it was kind of fun to go through and be like, oh, this one was sold at at Best Buy in like 2004, and things like that. So I always love finding those little things like when I'm game hunting and stuff.
Hell yeah.
But there was a ton of stuff. ActRaiser 1 and 2 for SNES was in there. 720 Degrees on NES was in there. Gauntlet 2, Mega Man 1 through 4, I believe, on NES.
So fucking lucky.
Which I know. 4 I didn't have. I already had 1, 2, and 3, sadly, but 4 I didn't have. So and that's funny because when I was with you, I almost bought a copy of Mega Man 4.
Yes.
So that was in there. Snake's Revenge. There was a Metroid.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There was a Super Mario Brothers 3 that it was not the front label variant with the different bros, but it had like a Canadian back label, which I had never seen because mine has like a regular old NES back label, but this one had a Canadian one that had French on it, which was kind of weird.
I've never seen that.
Me neither. So there was that. So I got 2 copies of that now. There was a lot of Xbox stuff and a lot of Dreamcast stuff. Nothing like super notable. It was all like there were a lot of commons, a lot of sports games. There was a whole bunch of like the Sega Sports, NBA 2K, NFL 2K, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which is pretty sweet on Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
A bunch of Xbox. What was in there? Both the Amped games, which I remember being like one of those like video store game or the rental store games where you like see it.
Yeah,
and you're like, those games. Counter-Strike on Xbox, Grand Theft Auto 3. So like a bunch more common stuff, but like stuff that's like kind of cool and kind of nice to have in the collection. Some like Need for Speed stuff. Honestly, like the consoles themselves were pretty sweet to have because they were in much better shape than the ones I had. And then there was a bunch of N64 stuff, like pretty good stuff. There was a Donkey Kong 64. There was a Mario Kart. There was a Super Mario 64. There was something else.
You're keeping that Mario Kart, right? Because if I remember, the one you have is an NFR.
Yes. So the one that I have already is an NFR, like an old Blockbuster one.
Yeah.
It's really faded. Like it's super sun faded. I suspect, I don't know, I can't prove this in any way, but I suspect it might have been the demo in their like N64 like demo kiosk, and that's why the label is so faded, because it was just like on display.
It was just there the whole time. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So yeah, I'll hang on to both of them probably.
Yeah, I mean, I would if there's any difference on the label, really, that's an excuse for me to keep both copies. So.
Personally. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know. I'm getting kind of bad at that. I've started to keep like Player's Choice and regular.
Look at me! I'm Tyler. I'm finally collecting Player's Choice.
Well, I mean, it's worse this way.
I always sound like this, and I always collect Player's Choice.
I only collect Player's Choice. Only the choicest games for me. I wonder if anybody's done that. It has like a complete collection of like all the greatest hits, all the Player's Choice, all of whatever the Xbox one's called.
There was a Nathaniel Bandy video recently. I don't know if you're familiar with him on YouTube, where he was like, "I own every Player's Choice Nintendo GameCube game," and I was like, "Why?"
I mean,
but I watched.
To be fair,
he sure do.
He absolutely has a very good collection of games. Like all of the games that he has, are like probably pretty damn good games.
Well, yeah, because they're Player's Choice for a reason, right? So like he ain't losing anything on that.
So I went through that. I don't think I got any other pickups this past couple weeks. I always want to say this week, but these past couple weeks.
It's always 2 weeks, right? Yeah, we're cool.
It's 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We're cool.
Yeah.
My shelves are getting full, and IKEA doesn't make the color of Billy bookshelf that I have anymore.
Oh man.
Dude, so I can't buy another one.
Just do what I do and get wall control. Are you allowed to put stuff up on the wall in your apartment?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Fucking, you have thousands of bucks to spend. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I'm not doing that, but it's fine. I'll figure out something.
Yeah. So I took you to Blast from the Past when you came to visit me, I think.
Right? Yeah. That's the place I bought Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3.
Yes, I believe so. It was mainly a toy store, but it's also video game store.
Oh no, that's a different place. I was thinking of the place across from like the Dunkin' Donuts. It was like the Dunkin'
where we like ran across the street.
Yeah. Well, it was Dunkin' combined with Baskin Robbins. And,
that's Flashback.
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey, can we go to Baskin Robbins?" And you're like, "Okay." And you just sat there. I went and like ordered Baskin Robbins for myself.
Yeah,
I was like, "Do you want
I didn't want any ice cream."
You're like, "No, I'm good." And so you just like sat there while I like stood there like waiting for the Baskin Robbins employee to get me ice cream.
Yeah, I don't know. You got a fucking problem? I didn't want ice cream. What do you want?
It's fine. It's just a funny situation. It was like 2 p.m. on a Wednesday or something. There's like nobody else around, and you're just like sitting in the Baskin Robbins Dunkin' Donuts. And I like come back with. I remember coming back with the ice cream. You're like, "Hey Matt, got ice cream?" And you're like, "Nice, man."
Yeah. Ready to go? No, that was Flashback. Maybe I didn't take you to Blast from the Past.
No, you did. I know the place you're talking about now. Yeah, it's mostly Toy Store.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't remember going. I don't know why.
Oh yeah. I met the guy, and there was, I don't know, some girl was working, and
Nora was there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think Nora was like up she was up on like the stool putting games away. Yeah. Okay, then we did go. So I went there, and the main dude who works there, besides Rich, who's a friend of mine and the owner, is my friend Dave. And Dave is a really cool dude, but he's also very loyal to the store. And so, I'll ask him for discounts here and there because we're really tight. But if he can't, he's always honest with me. And he's like, "No, I'm sorry, with this one, I would like to, but I can't, or I can only come down a very short amount, Mm-hmm. However, I came in, according to my Google Calendar, I came in on the 18th. It's the 28th as we're recording this, so it was 10 days ago. And I had some leftover birthday money that I just wanted to blow, because why not? And, why not? I had like $100-ish on me. Like very, very little more than $100 just to spend. And I came in and I was like, okay, let's see, what can I get? And their selection right now is honestly a little paltry, for me personally, because I have a lot of the stuff they already have. So I'm looking through their more rare stuff, because that's the section of the store where I can find more things that I don't have, but they're usually too expensive for me. But this time I was having a really hard time figuring out what I wanted. So I played this little game with Dave and Jackie and the other dude who works there, Eric, and I was like, all right, I just want you guys to just name a game that's on the shelf, and no matter what it is, if I don't have it already, I'll buy it. It doesn't matter. And we did that for like 15 minutes, and they could not name a game that I didn't have. And they were like...
You're getting to a point. You're hitting a wall.
I know. They were like, well, fucking tell us the games that you don't have. And I was like, no, because if I do that, you'll just say the first game I say. I want it to be purely random. I want you to pick a game from the wall purely at random. And so... Dave was like, well, what the fuck are we doing over here? Like, why don't we go to, like, the expensive section? And I was like, because I don't have, like, $1,000 to spend. I only have $100. And he's like, well, let's see what we can do over here. And so he walks me over to, like, the big expensive case. And he's like, do you have Donkey Kong Country 3? And I'm like, that's not really that expensive, but yes, I do. My Manuel is missing, though.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's a callback for you, Tyler. But, yeah, so, like, we're there for, like, maybe another couple of minutes, and he's like, what about The Adventures of Batman and Robin? And I was like, I don't have that, but I know it's more than $100, and I can't afford it. And he's like, well, let me see what I can do for you. So he pulls up... So
this dude's like, you're fucking wasting my time at this point. You just gotta get out of here,
man. Yeah, so he takes it out of the case, and he looks at the back, and it says 120, which I know for a fact is low. I don't say anything. But I do love Dave, so if he wasn't already looking up the price, I was going to tell him. He takes out his phone, and he's like, hang on, let me just make sure that this is accurate. I can't remember when the last time I priced this was. And he looks at
so he's going to call... He calls his friend Buster.
Yeah, he definitely... He calls Buster, whoever the fuck.
Yeah. Well, it's the co-owner of the store, right? Dave and Buster.
Yeah, Dave. Wow, you're funny today, huh?
Yeah, absolutely hilarious.
Yeah,
that's a boomer humor for you there.
Boomer humor. So, that little fucking gasp at the end of that laugh there. I'm gonna fucking change the levels on that so it's twice as loud. Yeah, so he looks up the price and he's like, fuck, it's like $165, $170 on eBay right now. And I'm like, well, shit. Put it back. And he takes the game and he like presses it to his heart and he looks at the ceiling and lets out the deepest, most guttural sigh I've ever heard. And then he just goes, all right, for you, $100. And I'm like, what? What? No, Dave, please, come on. I don't want to take advantage of you. Meanwhile, on the inside, I'm like, ah! But I was like, no, Dave, please, are you sure? And he's like, you know, you come to the store, and every time you come here, you spend, like, a fortune. I mean, sometimes you come, you just buy a couple commons, but, you know, not every day can be the best in the world. You know what I'm saying? You got bills. I'm like, yeah, Dave, I'm aware of the way that I spend money. You're not making a good case for yourself. He's like, look, you're a really good friend to the store, and, you know, when I'm here, I just want to sell stuff. And that's been sitting there for, like, a year, like, since we opened. I could get 160, maybe even 180 for it if I wanted to, but you want it right now. It's a game you don't have. You've been here like 30 minutes. We can't fucking find a game that you don't have. $100. And I was like, shit, sure, fine. And so, yeah. And so that was it. The Adventures of Batman and Robin for $100 instead of 165-ish, which was also my 3,400th video game exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking dork.
Self-applause for that one.
Congratulations. I'm amazed that you are counting like to the hundreds and like I think I'm at like 9, 10 maybe. So like I'm reaching
video
a
games.
milestone. Well, here's the thing. I don't include
9 or 10 hundred.
Fuck off. I don't include digital. So if you include my like digital Steam library, I'm like over that. But yeah, I'm coming up on a physical milestone. You know, in a
Sweet.
90 or so, and that one I will celebrate. But I can't be asked to celebrate hundreds.
I mean, it's not really a celebration so much as, hey, I bought a game that happens to be this milestone number.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But like, I mean, sometimes when it comes to like hundreds, I'll try to go a little bit like nuts and like, okay, well, this is like a nice round 0-0, right? So I'll spend like $100 on this one, or maybe like 80, sometimes even more. But it really depends how I feel and how much money I have to spend at that time. But
Matthew, I just looked at the length of the recording that we're doing right now, and holy shit, we're way over.
Well, that's okay. I had another story, but honestly, it's kind of still developing, so I'm going to tell it next time.
Oh, whoa, that's a cliffhanger. Hey, This is a Super FX first, a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for listening to Cliff. He really is hanging around. But that'll do it for this show. To learn more about Super FX, you can visit our website, superfxpodcast.com. You can find our show wherever you find your other favorite podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. You can also follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, SuperFX Podcast, at SuperFX Podcast. Reach out with any comments or questions on social media, or you can shoot us an email to that's hi, at superfxpodcast.com. Guys, if you like what we're doing, please support us. We have to eat. So please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/superfxpodcast. I work on a teacher's salary, so it's really difficult for me. Guys, please.
And you spend it all on Batman and Robin.
No, not all of it. $60 less than value. If you're listening on YouTube, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a rate, give us a review. It really helps us out. Kenny Martin gets thanked again. Special thanks for our theme song, my man. You can find him at Kenma, that's KENMA.bandcamp.com. Special thanks to you guys. Thanks so much for listening to me every time I spin this around just a little bit differently every time. And also for listening to the show. And we'll see you next time.
Ta-ta.